Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're getting into the world of dropshipping. It's that business model that's just exploded, right? Especially with platforms like Shopify, making it seem, well, kind of deceptively simple.
Yeah, deceptively simple. I think you hit the nail on the head there. That's a big part of the appeal, right?
Yeah.
But there's always more to it than meets the eye.
Exactly. And I'm all about digging deeper. We've got a whole stack of articles, research, the whole shebang here. We're looking at how Shopify became like the platform, for aspiring dropshippers. Honestly, I find this whole ecosystem fascinating. So are you ready to unpack this with me?
I am so ready. I think what's really fascinating here is how Shopify really tapped into this whole, desire for entrepreneurship, especially in the digital age, right?
Okay, so for anyone who hasn't fully jumped on this whole drop shipping bandwagon, imagine you want to start an online business, but the thought of inventory, packing boxes is all a bit much. Yeah. That's where drop shipping comes in.
It's a game changer for sure. Instead of dealing with all that, all the logistics yourself, you're essentially connecting customers with suppliers. And then you get to, you manage the whole experience.
So you're like the curator, the brand builder, but you're not the one drowning in boxes in your basement.
Yeah, exactly. And that shift, from logistics to brand building, that's appealing, man. Especially for creative folks who want to be entrepreneurs. But like you said, there's a reason we're doing a deep dive on this.
Right. Because as simple as it sounds, there are always, complexities. And that's where Shopify really kind of swooped in. I mean, they made drop shipping way more accessible, especially for those of us, and I'm including myself here, who wouldn't know a line of code if it jumped up and bit us.
It's true. They changed the game.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for aspiring entrepreneurs, and maybe they're not so tech savvy, right? But think about it. Traditionally, building an online store, that was a whole thing. You needed coding, you needed design skills, and you needed, honestly, a ton of patience.
Oh, tell me about it. I've dabbled, tried my hand at the whole website creation thing. And let's just say it wasn't pretty.
Shopify just eliminates all those barriers, you know what I mean? They give you this platform, and it's got a drag and drop interface, right? Customizable templates and all these tools that are actually, user-friendly. You can create a professional-looking store online without, get this, writing a single line of code.
Okay, you had me at drag and drop. Seriously. But the pre-made templates, that's huge. But how does Shopify specifically cater to drop shippers? Because it's an e-commerce platform. So what makes it the platform, What makes it the go-to for this particular business model?
It's the ecosystem, man. They built this whole ecosystem. I mean, they understood that drop shippers, they have these unique needs.
Right.
So Shopify created this app store, and it's filled with all these integrations that are designed to get this streamline the entire drop shipping process. Think of it like, imagine trying to bake a cake, right? But all you have is a bowl and a spoon. Now imagine you have this fully equipped kitchen, a mixer, measuring cups, an oven. You got everything you need.
Okay, I like where this is going. So Shopify is like the fully equipped kitchen for drop shippers.
Exactly. And all those apps they have, those are your specialized tools. They've got apps like Oberlo, Spocket, DSers. These apps connect you with suppliers all over the world, and then you get to browse their catalogs. You can literally import products directly into your Shopify store.
Wait, so you're telling me I can, scroll through products, pick what I want to sell, and it just magically appears on my online store? This is some Harry Potter stuff right here.
It is pretty magical. And it gets better. Remember how we were talking about Shopify simplifying all those logistical headaches? Those apps, they go beyond just finding products. They actually automate the entire order fulfillment process.
Okay, now hold on. You got to explain this one. My brain is picturing owls delivering packages right now.
No owls, I promise. So let's say a customer, they place an order on your store. Now, instead of you having to manually contact your supplier, give them all the order details of these apps, they do it all automatically.
So I don't have to spend my days glued to my inbox just emailing suppliers and hoping they ship things out on time?
Nope. The app handles it. It notifies the supplier, sends them the customer shipping info, the whole 9 yards, and then the supplier, they handle the rest. It's all about efficiency, automation.
Okay, now I'm starting to see why everyone's obsessed with Shopify. It's like having, a silent business partner who takes care of all the boring stuff, all the tedious things that nobody wants to do.
I like that. A silent business partner. That's a great way to put it. And it frees you up, right?
Yeah.
You can focus on the important things, building your brand, connecting with your customers, actually scaling your business.
Speaking of scaling, one thing that always makes me nervous with online to business is, well, it's the whole payment processing side of things. Is that something that Shopify can help with, or am I on my own to figure out that maze?
Oh, they've got you covered. Yeah. Shopify's got you covered there too. They've got all these built-in payment gateways, right? And they're secure. And the best part is they integrate right into your store. So you can accept payments from, well, pretty much anywhere in the world. And you don't have to become a security expert overnight.
Okay, that's a relief. Seriously. I've heard let's just say I've heard some horror stories about online businesses and security breaches yeah. So Shopify helps keep everyone safe, both the business and the customer.
Absolutely. They've got really rigorous security in place. Like, it's legit. And they give you options too. So you've got Shopify Payments, PayPal, all those credit card processors, you name it. That way you can sell to anyone, anywhere, and let them use what they're comfortable with.
Makes sense. It definitely builds that trust, When customers see those familiar names, those payment options that they know are reliable. Okay, so we've got the ease of use, the app integrations, secure payments, but what about the cost? I mean, starting any business takes money, right? So is Shopify actually affordable? Especially if you're just starting out, just kind of dipping your toes in the entrepreneurial waters.
That's one of the things they do really well. They get it. They get that startups, smaller businesses, they need a different approach. So Shopify has this tiered pricing structure, right? So you can basically choose a plan that, that fits your budget.
Yeah.
Whatever stage of growth you're at.
So you're not stuck with some crazy expensive plan right off the bat, especially when you're just testing things out.
Exactly. They've got this plan. It's called Basic Shopify, and it's perfect for, just getting started. And then later on, as your business starts to grow, you need more features, you can just upgrade seamlessly.
That flexibility is so key. I'm all about avoiding, how do I put it, unnecessary costs. Especially when you're just starting something brand new. It really does sound like Shopify has thought of, everything, or at least most things, to make this whole process as smooth as possible, right? But even with all these bells and whistles, all these amazing tools, we haven't really talked about, the elephant in the room.
And what elephant would that be?
The actual success of these businesses. Okay, it's one thing to, set up shop, build a website, all that, but it's another thing entirely to actually make it work, to make it thrive, to stand out, especially with how crazy competitive e-commerce is. So I kind of want to shift gears here, if that's cool. Let's talk about what it actually takes to build a successful dropshipping business. Like, what are the secrets?
Well, I don't know about secrets. No magic formula, unfortunately. But there are definitely these key things, these factors. And they're what really separates the businesses that, take off versus those that just sort of, tread water. And it all starts with what you decide to sell, your products. Product selection, that's crucial. Can't overstate that.
So it's not as simple as just picking something you personally love and hoping for the best.
So that might work, at a flea market, maybe, but in the digital world, no way. You got to be way more strategic. You got to identify those products that people actually want, that have high demand, but you also got to find your lane, right? Find that niche, become the go-to for a specific type of product, for a specific customer.
So instead of being like a general store selling a bit of everything, you're saying it's smarter to specialize. Find your niche and own it.
Exactly. Okay. Let's say you're super passionate about sustainable living.
Right.
Right. So instead of just selling like a million different eco-friendly products all over the place, you could focus on, say, sustainable pet products, and boom, now you're not just another store, you're the expert. You're the curated source for eco-conscious pet owners.
That's such a good example because it makes it so much easier, right, for those customers to find you, to trust that you get them, that you understand their needs. But finding the right products, it's half the battle, isn't it? Because then you got to get those products in front of those eager customers. Which brings us to marketing.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And honestly, in the world of dropshipping, with all that competition, and it is global now, marketing is, well, it's everything.
Yeah, it's definitely not as simple as just slapping a grand opening banner on your website and calling it a day.
No, not at all. And that's another area where Shopify really shines, honestly. We were talking about their SEO tools before and their email integrations, social media linking, all of that. Well, it's all designed to help you reach those people, your people, your target audience. But it's on you to actually use all that stuff and to use it well.
So it's got to be you need a strategy. You can't just check boxes. It's not enough to just have a Facebook page. You need to make it good.
Right? You got to create content, run ads, maybe even, I don't know, partner up with some influencers that make sense for, for your audience.
Yeah, you're getting it. It's about building a whole community around your brand. It's about establishing trust and providing value to your customers. Like, you got to provide value even before they've bought anything from you.
And speaking of trust, there's this whole other thing that people don't always talk about.
Oh, okay, now you have to tell me more. I love uncovering these little hidden elements that go into, making a business successful.
It's something that can literally make or break any business, but it's especially important online, especially with e-commerce and dropshipping, customer service.
It's true, because online, you don't have that face-to-face interaction. So yeah, building trust through good customer service, that's huge.
You got it. And with dropshipping, things can get tricky because you're relying on someone else. There's always that third party doing the fulfillment, right? So any delays, any damages, anything that goes wrong with the product, the shipping, whatever, it all falls on you, the business owner. You have to resolve it.
So even though I'm not, physically boxing up the product myself, I'm still responsible for making sure the customer has a good experience from start to finish.
Exactly. Remember, you're the face of your brand.
Yeah.
You're the one they see. So you have to be responsive. You got to answer questions, be proactive about fixing any problems. And sometimes you just got to go the extra mile. You got to be willing to do that, make things right.
Yeah.
Because a happy customer, well, they're way more likely to come back for more.
Right.
And they'll tell their friends.
Word of mouth is everything. Okay, this all makes sense. So we've got product selection, we've got marketing, customer service. Those are some crucial pieces of the puzzle. But there's one more thing, I think. One more element that's essential for any business that wants to be successful these days, especially in such a saturated market.
Let me guess, you're going to say branding.
Huh. You know me way too well. I'm a firm believer in that. In a strong brand, it makes all the difference. So how does that all fit into the world of dropshipping? I mean, it's more than just having a catchy name and a nice logo these days, right? You need that whole vibe.
Yeah, it's like you're crafting this whole story around your brand. What are you about?
Yeah.
What are your values? What's your mission? Think about the experience you want customers to have, even just when they land on your website. What's that first impression?
So to use that example again, the whole sustainable pet products thing, it's not just about, the products themselves. It's about showing how committed you are to sustainability. Yeah. And it has to be everything.
Exactly. Everything. From where you're sourcing your products to the packaging, even down to the way you're talking to customers, what causes you support. You want that customer to be like, yeah, I get it. I see what they're doing here.
So basically what I'm hearing is a strong brand, it's what helps you stand out.
Right.
Because everyone's doing the drop shipping thing now. Yeah. But it builds trust. And ultimately, it lets you actually, charge a bit more because you're providing value.
You got it. Think about it. People are way more likely to spend a bit more, even if it's on a brand that they connect with, they get it, they see themselves in it, even if it's just, a coffee mug.
Right.
It's about building those loyal customers, the ones who keep coming back, not the one-hit wonders.
Okay, you've convinced me. Branding is key. This has been so insightful. We've covered so much ground, haven't we? I mean, we went from the nitty-gritty, the how-tos of building a Shopify store to all this strategic stuff about picking the right products, marketing, customer service, and then branding on top of it. I think what's clear is that a dropshipping business, if you want to be successful, it takes more than just, clicking a few buttons on Shopify. You got to be willing to put in the work. You got to be dedicated. And you need a vision.
And you got to be willing to adapt because of this e-commerce world. It's constantly changing. So yeah, stay informed, be ready to, pivot when you need to.
Oh, that is so true. And we haven't even scratched the surface of all that. Social media trends, those algorithms that change every 5 minutes, it seems like. It's a lot to keep up with. But before we totally overwhelm our listeners here, and before we send them off into this entrepreneurial abyss, are there any downsides to dropshipping that we haven't talked about yet? It can't all be, sunshine and roses, right?
Of course not. There are always challenges, things to watch out for. I think one of the big ones with dropshipping is, you're relying on someone else to actually fulfill the orders, right?
Yeah, because you're putting a lot of faith in that supplier. You're trusting that they're going to deliver a good product, that it'll arrive on time.
That's it. And what you can, do your research right. You can vet your suppliers really carefully. But there's always that risk, right? Maybe there are delays or mistakes happen, or the product itself just, isn't what you expected or the customer expected. It happens.
Yeah, you're essentially putting your brand, at least that part of the experience, in someone else's hands. That's a big thing to think about.
It is, which is why you got to be on top of it. Communication is key. Make sure everyone's on the same page, set those expectations really clearly, and it doesn't hurt to have a backup plan, just in case, you know. The other thing is the profit margins. They can be lower with dropshipping, especially if you're just competing on price.
Oh yeah, that's the trap a lot of new businesses fall into. I'll just offer the cheapest price. But what I think you're saying is it's better to focus on that value. What makes you different? What makes you you? Rather than just getting sucked into that race to the bottom.
100%.
Yeah.
And that all loops back, right, to having a strong brand, knowing your niche, having amazing customer service. Those are the things that set you apart. Remember, you're not just selling like a thing, you're selling an experience. You're selling a solution even.
Man, that is such an important distinction. Okay, so we've talked about some potential downsides, but for those listening who are feeling, I don't know, maybe a little bit inspired, who are thinking, hey, I could do this drop shipping thing, what would be your number one piece of advice to them? What should they keep in mind?
Don't underestimate passion. Find that thing, that product, that niche, whatever it is that you're actually excited about, because that passion, man, that's what fuels you, especially when things get tough. And they will get tough.
It's so true. Because building a business, it's hard work, no matter what you're doing. But if you actually love it, if you're passionate, it stops feeling like work, you know? It's more like this journey, this adventure.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, Shopify gives you the tools, the resources, everything you need to actually get started. But at the end of the day, it's on you. You got to use them the right way. Build that brand that really means something. Create a business that, you know, that you're proud of, that reflects you.
I love that. Such a good note to end on, honestly. This was a really awesome deep dive. I had fun, and I hope our listeners are feeling, I don't know, inspired, maybe a little bit fired up to start their own thing. Until next time, everyone, happy selling.